PvZ. It's going to be Rogue taking on Classic. We're kind of just jumping on into it here. I'm sure we'll go on a little spiel about how awesome these guys are in a minute. For now, though, in the bottom left, it's Alpha X's Classic.
And in the top right, it is former world champion Rogue. These two players played a best-of-7 finals in a Africa World maybe a few months ago now.
Yes.
And it was incredible. I think it's the best-of-7 I have ever cast in my entire life.
Oh, it was truly a phenomenal best-of-7. There's no question about it. I think it's gotta be... Sorry.
Whoa. No, go ahead.
It's gotta be the best one we've ever had for a Freak World.
I think you're right. It's just they brought the best out of each other. It was, I mean, they were clawing at each other. It was nip and tuck. It was very close. Nobody really seemed to have the upper hand at any given point, and someone had to win, and we're not going to spoil it for you, but it was definitely a series worth watching.
Absolutely. I think the thing that made that series so good was that Classic came out ahead at first, and then Rogue was like, oh my god, I'm Rogue. I'm not supposed to lose. And then
I gotta take this seriously.
Yeah, then it got very intense from there on. Okay, so PvZ, a best-of-5. Let's see how this series is gonna develop. So far, normal openings from both players, however.
Yeah, no proxies, nothing crazy like that. Just one gate expansion, 16, 18, 17 from the Zerg player. Just very, very standard, and shouldn't be able to kill a drone here as Classic. Rogue is a little bit too aware for that.
Classic hoping Rogue is asleep at the wheel. Ooh, almost loses his probe.
Yeah, almost turnabout is fair play there. Almost took down the probe who was being the aggressor. So 4 lings coming in, traditional number. Maybe you want to get another set if it's a couple adepts moving across, but the Overlord shows up and says, okay, we don't have a second gate yet. The Cyber Core just finished. Let's go ahead. I can just drone up, not worrying about additional lings for now. And that could be a Stalker, so the Overlord wants to get to a high ground position and a very traditional Stargate opening coming in next. Nothing that Rogue hasn't seen before 18,000 times.
Absolutely. This is very standard as far as the builds go. Already, we're seeing what makes Rogue so good as he plays out. He's not a player who's caught off guard too often. He's just got lings and vision all over the place between his overlords and his and these lings running around.
Yeah, lings just kind of checking for stuff. Where's the adept? Are there any probes thrown down? Later proxies I need to be aware of. Overlord does see where the adept is. No problem. Adept sees the Overlord. Queen's in position to handle it. Third base coming in from Rogue, and it's a Void Ray opening from Classic, not an Oracle.
Oh, how about that?
I mean, fairly standard these days. I'd say the number of times I see a Void Ray opening versus an Oracle opening is like 50-50-ish at this stage of ZVP. So nothing too crazy there. The Overlord, it'd be nice to scout it, and I think he's going to scout it in the form of getting murdered in the face by the Void Ray. So that counts as scouting.
Yes, but the Overlord, even though he's getting blasted in the face, is not deterred as he marches or floats onwards. Rip! Okay, so Oracle following up that Void Ray. We've then got the third Nexus on the way, so very standard macro play coming out of Classic. Rogue going for an Evo chamber already is what I'll say is probably the first development we've seen. What sort of upgrade is he going to get here?
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, it's got to be melee, right? I mean, maybe he wants his queens to get missile attack, but that's a weird thing to start this early.
Yeah, that would have to be like a sort of million queens plus one maybe walk deal or something like that.
Sure. Or just defensive too. Oh, it is melee. Okay, fair enough. I mean, there was a Scarlet versus Trap game that I cast from DreamHack Masters Winter where it was just a ton of Void Rays with some charge lot support for Trap. And it was defensive. It was defensive like 20 queens with some Roach and Ravager support. It was so many queens, and it totally worked for Scarlet. She was able to hold the attack, and then the game progressed from there. But So that could be what's going on. Yeah, look at that. Second Stargate up, so we can start producing Void Rays 2 at a time now. But you can't. Void Rays on their own, not that great against a Zerg player of this caliber. They could probably defeat you and me fairly easily, but when it comes to someone like Rogue or Dark or Scarlet or Serral or Rain or any of these guys, it's just not going to work. You need charge lots. Maybe some High Templar with Storm would be cool, but that's pretty gas intensive.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something else here. And I'm not sure what it is.
That Oracle has got to be careful, and we're going to see that interesting dynamic that can really go any way, as, of course, the mass lings that Rogue is currently going for cannot kill the Void Rays, but Void Rays are pretty darn slow killing Zerglings, so we're going to see how that plays out. It does depend if Classic's going to move out with his Void Rays, whether he could potentially take some big damage from Rogue. But as Rogue fires up a bunch more Zerglings, I get the feeling he may be walking his queens, and yeah, he's got just a Ling Queen flood coming towards Classic.
Wow, I haven't seen one of these in a while. It's just a queen walk, huh?
Yeah, I think this is gonna be good for this. This could be a potential hold here from Classic. As, he's throwing up a lot of static defense, but that's why Rogue's making Banelings, and we definitely can't count Rogue out, as he is that guy who just makes things work. So
he will do things that make you question what he's doing, and then it works. So that's entirely true. I just don't, man. Slow Banes, Queens, Zerglings army value is 62 to 31, but the defensive Protoss pretty strong here. So Banelings do crash in. They take down a shield battery. Another one that's warping in. All the cannons are gonna. All the cannons are going to die.
Oh, the battery overcharge keeps one of those cannons alive a little bit longer. Lings are starting to get to work on those cannons. However, we take a look, and it's really not that many queens here from Rogue. So it's a very good thing for him that he took out all those shield batteries. He's got just enough queens to challenge these Void Rays for now, it looks like, as Classic has to micro them back. It's going to be close, though, as the probes, oh my god, are getting in on the action.
Yeah, the transfuses are working, but once one queen goes down, it signals the start of the fall of Rome here. Actually fighting with these Lings to keep some of these probes alive. What a chaotic game one this has been. The Ling flooding from Rogue is insane right now. All the queens die, and that signals the end of the Zergling aggression, and they need to back out. So 15 probes die. It is 59 to 49, an advantage there for Rogue. For Rogue. So his economy's looking okay. He's got his fourth base rolling. But the counterattack of Void Rays here going to be a little bit difficult to hold, but there are additional queens ready to rock on defense back there.
Oh, this is what I love from Rogue. He knows Classic wants to move out with these Void Rays, so he's going to just send in a big Ling counterattack. He's even producing more Lings, as it's just still Ling Queen. But Classic does not have what he needs to defend back at home right now.
Yeah, one Zealot not going to be enough. 4 Zealots, maybe.
Yeah, 4 Zealots with the support of the cannons is going to be enough. The Void Rays are getting to work on the lair, which is also a big deal. The Queens come in. They should be able to transfuse that lair to keep it alive, but is Rogue going to do that? Yes, he does, but not in time.
Oh, brutal. Yeah, transfuse is good. It's not that good.
Banelings attempting to assassinate the probes there, as Classic is still seemingly keeping the lead here as this game goes on. Void Ray is going to be looking to snipe another hatchery. Just 2 of them are going to be able to pick this off, as Rogue's getting pulled a little bit apart here, and we're seeing the weakness of this Ling Queen composition. It's just not doing what Rogue needs, as Classic has come out ahead on multiple fronts.
And it's really the speed of the Void Rays that is doing this. Like, that was the buff that really made this as possible as it is. That final balance patch of Starcraft 2 is increasing the acceleration and top speed of Void Rays. If they're a little bit slower, it's harder for them to run away. They can't dart in and snipe buildings like they've done in this game if they're a little bit slower too. So Rogue is not droning up. He's making 26 Banelings, 28, 30 Banelings? 30 Banelings it is.
Oh my gosh, this is nuts. The guy has no chill. But Classic has fired up an Archon. He just got a Colossus to pop out.
2 Disruptors as well.
And even throwing down a Stasis Trap at his natural. It's the little things like that I love. The Disruptors even going forward, going to try and assassinate some of the Queens. They get some big hits, going to use a lot of their energy there, as Rogue has no choice but to pull the trigger. He goes for it. The probes not running. A lot of them are going to go down, most likely. No,
there's your split. So yeah, 16, 25 is a bigger number here. The Queens are transfusing,
but too much.
Classic takes game number 1 in a very
my
aggressive game
God.
1.
That delivered,
Absolutely.
though.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were expecting from these two. Hard fought. Somebody had to win, but it was not easy for Classic to get that. He lost. I mean, how many? How many? I'm gonna look at this real quick. How many workers did he end up losing there?
Classic, it must have been like 50.
It must have been.
He lost 25 in the first, then a decent amount earlier.
Man, absolutely just crazy go nuts place. Move my camera a bit here, try to center it a tiny bit more. Yo, you got a Santa hat going. How nice.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
This Santa hat is just about as old as me, so it's kind of tradition to bring this one out.
That makes sense. Very cool. All right, so game 2 is going to be on Pride of Alteris. Not a map we've cast a lot of games on for Afrika World. I think it's been vetoed quite a bit.
No, yeah, you're right about that.
At least the last one, the last Afrika World we did, I don't know that we cast more than one game on this map. If one. I'm struggling to remember, but...
Me too. I'd like to say my memory is good enough to remember 2 weeks ago, but it's not. Okay, so Pride of Alteris, in the top left, he was able to weather the storm. It's Classic.
And in the bottom right, it's our guy Rogue, who went for the aggressive queen walk, and it didn't work. And I feel like that's part of the reason we haven't seen it a lot recently in ZVP, is that Protoss had kind of figured it out. Void Rays are so fast and so nimble, they can dodge. Shield battery overcharge is good. And in that situation where Zerg is being that aggressive, and speaking of aggression, where's this drone going?
Is there a gold base? Yes, there is.
Yes, there is. Ooh, taking the golds.
You know, I need to boot up a ladder game and float my command center just for old time's sake.
You should. I actually cast a game where that happened on like Silver League. And
right where I belong.
The poor other guy scouts the main, and he's like, there's nothing there, right? He brings all the SCVs down. He brings the command center down.
Oh my God, come on.
And he spends like 3 minutes scouting to try to figure out where this dude is, and he scouts everywhere but where the gold base is.
No!
That's the last place he looks. It's so amazing.
Oh, it's a double gold base.
This is fantastic. Both players risking it for the biscuit here.
Rogue and Classic, these guys are amazing.
I like it. I like it a lot. That's why these, fairly accessible gold bases are fun.
You gotta think, though, this is terrible for Classic, right?
I guess. Depends on how aggressive Rogue is going to be here. I mean, the Overlord's going to get up and see there's not an expansion for Classic in the normal location, so either you'd say it's a weird one-base opening, or I gotta go check that gold base as soon as I can.
Yeah.
He knows that's an option.
Yeah, there's a few mind games here. Rogue could be thinking, okay, Classic saw my gold, and he just threw up, like, 3 gates or something. Indeed. Rogue definitely has the advantage, though, because he's the one with all the info, whereas Classic hasn't scouted. Is there a recall? Yes, there is. Classic gets those probes there. He's already fired up a shield battery at this base, which I love.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's if you're risking this, having a shield battery is going to help immensely with that. So 8lings on the way, which is more than the traditional, 4 that we saw in the last game. He knows either he needs them for defense or he needs them for offense. He doesn't know what yet, I don't think.
Oh, it's a solid wall from Classic. That's a really good choice. Okay, the lings are going to come on in. They're going to back up for now, though. Just more and more lings on the way. Classic's going for an Immortal and a Sentry, which is not exactly the ling-killing army you want. And he still hasn't scouted this. That's the main concern. Classic's doing this blind. He's got no idea there's a trillion lings out for Rogue.
No, but he's got to be aware it's a distinct possibility. So, I mean, Rogue...
Yeah. Classic's taken this for granted, though.
Oh, he found it. Okay. So he sees the Lings, he sees the base, he's going to try to knock down the wall. Sentry's pretty good at killing Lings, not the fastest thing ever, but not terrible either. Going to come down and have to throw down additional buildings to help solidify this wall, because this gateway possibly, I don't know.
No force field. Okay, Lings can't get through there. We're seeing probes go down at this base. The battery was actually targeted down by Rogue.
Nice.
Well, however, Classic does keep these precious probes safe. He's actually got a significant worker lead right now as well, by the way. So Rogue's more all in than Classic. Rogue wants to get through this door, but he seems a little unsure of what to focus on right now, whether he goes for that base. Yeah, he's just all in on this wall.
And I don't know, a player of Classic stature is really not going to worry about Lings nibbling on his wall. They don't have upgrades, so they're not really getting through it fast enough to be a huge concern. You just throw up an additional, like this, just additional walls upon walls upon walls upon walls. You make a couple of depths. Rogue's making 22 Lings, though. He is 1,000,000%
Oh, he's
to this.
through. He's through.
Oh, he didn't fortify the left side fast enough. And suddenly, everybody's worst feeling in the world. A million Lings inside your base.
Classic does get a double Adept Warp, and he brought the 3 Immortals and 1 Zealot to try and deal with all these Lings. Where are those Zealots he warped in, or Adepts he warped in at his other base here? These Immortals are going to be in so much trouble, though, in the worst possible spot they can be. No recall or anything to save them. That is... Oh, actually, there it is.
And they all make it out. None of the Immortals die. That's kind of massive. Oh, they pull back to the main base where they're going to die now.
The probes,
fair enough, I guess.
Probes
help fight. Help
good
your
body
good
block,
fighters.
Not good enough, though.
Terrible, but GG. Wow. That is a game 2 for these players, and we tie the series up. Let's get a game 5. It's not guaranteed yet, but I'd love to see it.
Oh my god, the Classic and Rogue is quickly becoming my favorite matchup.
Absolutely beautiful. I mean, just... Woo! So that is a fun map for sure. I really wish we saw more of it. If we get games like that. I don't know about the answer making Immortals in that situation.
No. I mean, Classic was originally committed to those, I guess. Yeah, and I guess he just didn't take the Ling threat serious enough or something.
I guess. I mean, it was a little surprising that Rogue committed so hard to Zerglings there. Usually a Zerg player will recognize it's such a big risk to do that because his economy's in the toilet because he made 50 Zerglings. And if they don't just win the game, then you're toast.
Yeah, maybe that was Classic not being familiar with or not being as solid dealing with the gold base Ling flood, so that the numbers maybe were a little different than a regular Ling flood. I don't know. Easy to make something like that happen. True. Well done by Rogue, though. And here's Classic again.
And on Curious Minds for game number 3, it is Rogue.
Curious Minds.
The curiousest of minds. The latter edition. Not the Team Liquid map contest version. Which I don't know why we still had some of those in DreamHack Masters Winter, but whatevs.
That was the thing?
Yeah. No. Did we talk about this last time? They're Hardwire, I think. There was a game between Scarlet and Cure. And the spawn location for Scarlet's hatch was too far away. The map was broken.
Oh.
And she recognized it instantly and was like, pause, please. And she's like, this is a broken map. And they're like, sorry.
I did see that. I guess they accidentally hosted on the wrong one, huh?
Yeah, no, they were doing that a bunch. There are a bunch of replays on Team Liquid map contest versions of ladder maps. And I don't know if they didn't have access to them or if they just felt like using the Team Liquid versions, but it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah, that's quite odd.
Yeah. So I'm glad to see we're on ladder maps. Here, it makes sense because you're the one choosing them. All right. Anything crazy in this game? No. No gold bases to go run to and be fun with.
I'm going to say not yet. Anyway. not ruling it out just yet. Okay. Probe heading on out. Classic going for scouts and all but last game. So 2 out of 3 so far. He definitely could have done with scouting last game.
True facts. Scouting is important in all matches, but especially in ones where someone's taking an early gold.
Okay. Stargate, Adept. No surprise there. I'm not sure how else a Protoss would open up on this map.
Yeah, I mean, Curious Minds, I don't know that I've really seen or cast any weird games on this map. It seems fairly standard. Those expansions in the top corners are pretty hard to get to, which makes them fairly hard to defend, hard to attack.
Yeah, all the expansions seem a little inhospitable. Or 3 and 4 do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty far away. Oh, this was there was an incredible Maru versus Dark game on this map from something a couple months ago.
Super tournament? No.
I think it was earlier than the Super Tournament. Anyway.
Oh, TSL, maybe.
It might have been GSL, but it was insane. I'm just going to highlight one thing from it. Maru made 24 ghosts in that game and lost 2 of them in a 27-minute game.
Jeez.
He was getting attacked by lings and banelings, and there were roaches and ravagers and ultras, and the ghosts were just like, we're not dying, sucker. We've got medevacs, we're getting picked up, we're retreating perfectly. Like, Maru's ghosts do not die. It was insane.
Why don't my ghosts live that long?
Because you are not Maru, my friend.
Sadly not.
No.
I'd drive a nicer car if I was.
Probably. Live in Korea.
Probably. And I'd also be Korean, so.
A
lot of things would be different if I was Maru.
Yeah. So Void Ray opening, as we talked about in Game 1, nothing too crazy. Here, just going to run around, run away from queens, run away from anything that is trying to kill it.
So Oracle getting 5-6 drones with the Void Ray.
4 late. You need to get that thing started at about 3:30 against traditional Oracle timings, and the fact that Rogue is waiting on that is not going well for him.
Yeah. Classic messing with Rogue a little bit, having that Void and the Oracle get in at the same time.
Yeah, but nothing Rogue shouldn't be able to handle. I'm a little
definitely
bit frustrated that he lost that many workers to that. That's pretty standard stuff. I mean, I would lose like 10 drones to that, but, you know, Rogue is Rogue.
So a Forge on the way for Classic, so it looks like he's going to use that to make a cannon or 2 once more as he continues up on his Void Ray production. And we're seeing our first Roach Warren from Rogue. +1 missile attack on the way, so we'll likely see a good amount of Roach and Ravager from Rogue this game.
Yeah, can be pretty good. I mean, obviously, the Void Ray counts could be high enough that Roaches aren't going to be as good, but Ravager is pretty fantastic in this situation. They're more expensive, but definitely worth it against the Voids.
Oh, they turn around, though.
They got revelated. Oh my gosh. Oracle, seriously? Seriously, Oracle?
Yeah, up to 8 kills. This is not the game for Rogue. Abandoning the Queen Walk, maybe realizing that he didn't have enough oomph to do that. Or I guess he never really was planning on Queen Walking. He just had his Queens walking.
Maybe a feint? He's just trying to make Classic worry about it. Fire on the way. We know what to think about Rogue Mutalisks, that's for sure.
They die? Or they don't die?
Sorry. They die, but they get so much work done. Like, that's the craziest thing about Rogue, is he will overwhelm you with Mutalisks, keep you on your side of the map. You will kill 20 to 30 of those Mutos, but he will be making 80 on the other end, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Classic's on triple Stargate, though.
Yeah, and I do not... Yeah, in that case, the Phoenix are going to be a pretty solid deterrent here.
Classic is very confident in this game after killing off, all 8 drones that he's done. That's actually a huge amount for this point in the game.
Not too bad. I mean, Rogue should be able to withstand it, but it does slow him down a bit.
Yeah. So Classic, he's got his 4th base on the way. He's got his fleet beacon on the way. He's feeling very confident. Rogue is building up a good amount of resources, so he's going to be able to fire up probably 11 mutas when that does finish up. But still, it's not going to be easy for him. Oh, Lings do slip by that Adept.
Wow, what? Adept? Come on, Adept, do your job.
Not quite positioned perfectly.
It is mutas! It's 14 Mutalisks just fired up.
I love it.
Dude, okay, this has got to be it, though, because Classic is going to see that. He's going to start firing up like 5 Phoenix at a time, and he'll be fine.
He's got a 4th Stargate on the way. And the thing is, he's got Flux Veins on the way for his Void Rays, and those will actually be able to chase the mutas decently well.
Yeah, fairly well. I mean, they're not going to catch them, but they will chase them quite nicely. 1 Corruptor on the way. That seems like probably a mistake. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think Rogue's just too broke to make more than 1 at the minute. Okay, Void Rays find the Queens. That's a good catch.
And some Zealots are in there, too. That's a big deal.
Oh, here comes the mutas to the natural base, though, but there's the recall on the Void Rays. Going to be able to start chasing these mutas away. They will get some damage done, but yeah, once Flux Veins is complete, these mutas are not going to be as powerful as Rogue would hope.
No, mutas are a fairly good answer to Void Rays. He's still making more Mutalisks. And look, Phoenix are on the way.
Cannons as well.
Rogue.
Classic's on 4 bases at 80 workers.
Yeah. And he's getting an eye on Pulse Crystals, which upgrades the range of the Phoenix. He knows how many mutas are out there.
Oh, okay. Sneaky play by Rogue does get the mutas to this base, but there's the Phoenix out now.
And, losing 1 Phoenix very quickly there. Careful.
There comes the rest of the units. Going to help zone these away. So Classic does lose 19 workers, which definitely hurts him. So that's some good damage by Rogue. I'd like to see a Baneling Nest from Rogue at this point, though. And maybe try and get some Banes in on one of the bases here.
Alright, here we go. Ling, Muta, Bane trying to jump on in. This is not enough Zealots or Cannons to handle this by any stretch. The Mutas have to get out when the Phoenix arrive. An Ion Pulse Crystals is 5 seconds away from completion. The Queens are here to provide anti-air, but also some anti-ground against these Zealots if they need to. There's the purple lasers of the Ion Pulse Crystal upgrade right now. It is an absolutely insanely aggressive play from Rogue. He's making more Mutalisks, getting an Infestation Pit back home. Classic can't stand in and fight this because the Queen count is too high.
Yeah, there's so many Queens here at his base. I think Classic is just going to have to try and save his probes and maybe hold at his 3rd base. It's notable at his 4th, there wasn't a single shield battery, or if there was, it was picked off much earlier. So that's really hampered Classic's defense, and after having a great opening, he maybe was a little bit too greedy, and Rogue was able to find some good damage and is now going for a kill. Battery overcharge going to keep these units from dying, however. Looks like that fight's going to happen now. The mutas are getting shredded by the Phoenix. The battery's keeping the Void Rays alive decently well.
Oh, that range is really helping. You can see the distance these lasers are getting. The Voids are trying to deal with the Queens, but there are so many transfuses here. It's insane. Eruptors being produced on the back of this from Rogue. He feels like he can deal with the Void Rays, but the Phoenix is the real problem in the moment. Yeah, the mutas are just going down piece by piece by piece by piece. He is not even bothering to micro them back. Now they can afford to lift the Queens so the Void Rays can finish them off. And the hold is real, but the Corruptors are coming.
Yeah, Classic did hold on and stay alive, but what's his position here? He's making 4 more Void Rays at a time. He kept a good number of his probes alive as well. He's going to transfer them into the mouths of 6 Zerglings here. Looks like
no.
But will be saved. And actually a counterattack with the Phoenix running right into the Corruptors.
They feel like they can fight this, though. They don't one-shot these Corruptors, but they maybe 2 volleys with the number of Phoenix there are and the upgrades they have, they can do it. It is Sky Toss all the way right now, man. It is more Void Rays to deal with the Corruptors that are still being produced by Rogue.
Ling's getting lifted up.
Not the best use of energy, but you know, sometimes you got to do it.
When you got this many Phoenix, you can lift as much as you want.
Amen. Man, 9 more Corruptors coming in here. What are we looking at? Corruptor total is 20 with 8 more, so 28 total soon.
Oh my god, that is a very high count. Classic's getting more cannons at his 4th base. Yeah, I think we need to see a couple batteries or something.
Ooh, recall gets him out of there just in time. So pulling back, the Corruptors aren't going to be able to caustic spray anything down just because there's enough Void Rays in the general vicinity. Cannon's going to help a lot here too. Corruptors, okay, never mind. They're just going to wander right in, go after this Artosis pylon, and cancel those plans immediately though because the Void Rays are here. They have prismatic alignment up. The Corruptors just need to get out. They can't. They're trying to whittle down the Phoenix count if possible, but when prismatic alignment is up, that extra damage versus armored is huge.
Yeah, the +2 really doing work there for the Void Rays as well. Now that the batteries are finished up, it's going to be much harder for Rogue to commit on to Classic if he wants to. And so the next step for Rogue is Infestors.
It is. I mean, there it is. Some fungals on these Phoenix would make them immensely vulnerable to anything. A lot of their survivability is their ability to run away, to kite, to move, to be wherever they need to be very fast. So creep spread for Rogue is kind of insane, especially down this left side. It looks great. His hive's finishing up now.
Yeah, wow.
Creep just butching up right up to that 3rd base.
Yeah, Rogue can't spread his creep much further without it getting shot by the cannons of Classic. He's been on this all game, and he's doing very well for him. Oh, 4 Vipers on the way for Rogue is going to be real nasty for Classic.
Yeah, parasitic bombs, if not split against properly, can be a huge problem for Phoenix balls. Void Ray balls, too, take a lot of damage from those.
Yeah.
So they do need to take some time to suck some energy off of hatcheries or evolution chambers or whatever to get up their energy count to do that soon, but that is coming sooner rather than later for Classic.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's literally just Void Ray Phoenix for Classic so far. He's just fired up his first carrier, but Rogue's making 5 queens at a time. He's already got Infestors, Vipers, 11 queens, 27 Corruptors. I don't think Classic has the time to get up to the carriers, which he really needs.
Yeah, he doesn't. Carriers take forever to build, even if you're chrono boosting them. They're not the most efficient, quick building unit there is. So, Rogue's got a window here, but you know, if he just sits back and allows Classic to build up that carrier account, then sure, Classic can do it. It's just a matter of if Rogue wants to let him do it or not.
In about 90 seconds, Classic will have out 2 rounds of carriers, which is going to be plenty for him. So Rogue might want to do something soon, but from the looks of it, I don't think he is. He's just chasing down these Phoenix. He's not going for an attack just yet. Oh, here we go. In goes the Void Rays looking to snipe a hatchery. They're probably going to want to recall right away before those Vipers get on top of them. The Parasitic Bomb goes down. All the Void Rays are clumping up Parasitic Bomb. Fungal, oh my god.
Oh, that kills a big number of them. Not all of them go down, but that was massive.
I don't know how many it was before this, but 21 Void Rays went down this game so far. That was ridiculous.
That was some clutch parasitic bomb play. He got a hatch out of it, Classic did, but lost a bunch of Void Rays in the process, so,
Okay, so we're getting towards that full-blown Sky Toss game. I love the 1 Archon here for Classic. A very serious threat. More High Templar warping on in. No Psystorm yet for the Protoss. Just making another Archon.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, you'd think any composition Storm's going to be good, but not today. So here comes that push. Queen's transfusing what they need to. Viper's kind of hanging back a little bit. Fungal's getting tossed down on the carriers and the Void Rays on the right side. Oh, there's the Parasitic Bomb in the northern section of the Void Rays there. Very nicely done, but can the Corruptors take down these Void Rays that have been prismatically aligned?
Good spread by Classic, and that was not the knockout punch that Rogue was kind of looking for.
No, he's going to kill the carriers pretty... Oh, never mind. He decided to go after, again, prismatically aligned Void Rays, trying to avoid the Archon more than anything else here. The Archon is the natural enemy of the Corruptor.
Oh my god. Rogue fires up 39 roaches. What a madman.
Oh.
Oh.
Maybe recognizing the Void Ray count is not super hot. That many roaches are going to do very well against smaller numbers of Archons and Stalkers for sure. Corruptor's keeping Classic's attention here, but Classic also with an attack up to the north at the 12 o'clock trying to get something done. Seems like it's getting rebuffed by the myriad of roaches that have just been produced.
Void Rays popping on him out. Prismatic alignment with the Stalker support. Very important for Classic to keep those Stargates safe and producing, because he's going to want that air control to deal with those 40 roaches.
Yeah, absolutely. That Void Ray count, if it gets high enough, the roaches are just going to be entirely useless, which let's try to avoid that. Pathogen Glands coming in at the 18-minute mark, even though we've made a bunch of Infestors already.
Oh man, what a game here. In goes Rogue, all of his roaches charging forward. Gonna deal with the cannons and shield batteries pretty well as Classic's out of position, all of a sudden having to move his army towards the north. The effectiveness of these roaches will be limited. And Classic's army is just monstrous right now.
It is good composition of the charge lots, carriers, Void Rays, Phoenix. Just kind of marching, and Rogue's the one who needs to retreat from this position, and retreating he is. Parasitic Bomb, nice split on those Void Rays that caught it. Pretty darn good there. Army value is even at this stage, which is not great for a Zerg player. Corrosive Vials do make some connections there. They take down a single Void Ray, which is great. Archon's continuing to push forward, and that base is down.
Rogue just fired up 26 more roaches and only 8 more Corruptors. The count is currently 16 Corruptors against 10 Void Rays, 4 carriers.
Yeah, the counterattack possibilities are just going through the roof here. This is sometimes what Protoss can do. They get an advantage, they roll with it, they kill one base, then they kill the next base, then they kill the next base. And it can be hard to stop, although it looks like pulling back after seeing the number of Ravagers in production here.
Yeah, Rogue losing 2 bases, potentially about to lose his third as a few Zealots and a Probe go to town on this hatchery. Looks like he may just save it, but even then he's down to 54 workers. His army is not that good as there's just a ton of Ravagers and Roaches in it, which, I mean, they're good, but I don't think they're going to be the complete finisher that Rogue will need.
I don't either. He's making, 3 more Corruptors. The counterattack here of Big Roach Ravager Corruptor. The ground army is going to struggle against this immensely, but largely it's the carriers that are going to do very well against the Roaches and Ravagers. So, going to have to keep the Corruptors alive long enough to deal with the carriers and the Void Rays. Just very cautiously trying to deal with some of the gas income of Classic here, but I feel like that's probably an expired assimilator anyway. Counterattack of Speedlot says, you're not rebuilding that hatch. Oh, they left the drone alone, though. He could just throw it down again. Charge lots and then running into the entire Ravager army. Everybody dies except for all of the Roaches and Ravagers.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for Classic, but at the same time, he's just building more Void Rays with that supply, too. Fires up Psystorm as well, which is going to be great for him. Also being able to feed back the Vipers could be a big play, too. And oh, there is one Viper. A lot of energy. Feedback's going down.
Top side. They do manage to take down the Nexus with sheer Roach Ravager there. Corrosive Bile is a big part of it. Trying to head them off a bit. Pick off some of the retreating units, but Corruptor's one-shotting Void Rays. Woo. Very, very nice on that one. More Roaches in production. Storm finally coming in from Classic. He's like, all right, look. Psionic Storm is a good spell. Let's get that thing going at 21 minutes.
Classic got to rebuild that Nexus as he is only on 5 bases, so his income will be starting to dwindle as both players have largely mined out their available bases anyway.
Yeah, we're looking at... This base hasn't been taken, but every other base on the map has at least been attempted to be expanded to here. retaking that 11 o'clock base at the top side here. Shields, is that shields level 3 coming in? It certainly is.
It is. Most
Do you not
expensive
see
upgrade.
that a lot? Yeah. Is that 400, 400?
I think so.
Man. Absolutely insane. Well, Classic's got a bit of a bank, but nobody has much gas, which is going to be the bigger deal here. Classic is trying to take that 6 o'clock expansion. That is a fresh base.
Oh, great abduct by Rogue. Grabs 2 carriers.
Yeah, I haven't seen much abduct today. Those were clutch for sure. Clearing the creep up this left side is nice.
Parasitic Bomb goes down as
Got
well.
Beautiful split off on that Void Ray, and then brings it back into town and gets some damage off on the carriers, but it's okay. They're pretty tanky.
All right, looks like the fight could be getting forced here. High Templar moving forward, gets feedback on the Viper. Roaches and Ravagers are standing still as the Air Army and Archons sail forward. It's hard to see who's going to win this fight, as Rogue is not giving Classic a straight-on fight. He's got the Corruptors, but I don't know if he's got the Ground Army at this point.
Yeah, he's popping out 13 more roaches here.
Oh my gosh, the Archon's just going in town on the Corruptors.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do some shots off on those carriers while he was over there. I mean, there's 3 carriers here. Roaches, they need to kite a little bit against these Archons. They can kill them fairly easily, but there's really no micro there. There you go. Now going after this carrier group fairly effectively, but the Void Rays are whittling down that Corruptor count quite nicely, and this might just be GG. Some Lings coming in, trying to get a full surround on those Archons. They're going to kill one of them at GG. Classic takes it. He gets that 2-1 lead in this best of 5. What a match.
Classic able to secure the victory there. Giving him the 2-1 lead, as you said.
Just these games, man. Absolutely sick from both players there. And yeah, just sky tossing it, open with the Void Rays, got the Phoenix out to deal with the Mutalisks that Rogue tried to make work. And then from there, it was just trying to figure out how to perfectly accommodate for what Classic was doing there, trying to have enough ground army to deal with the Archons and the charge lots and the Stalkers and whatnot, but at the same time, having enough Corruptors to deal with the Void Rays and the carriers. And I mean, he even did that without Storm. There was not a single Storm cast in that match, and Classic managed to win that thing anyway. That doesn't happen a lot in PvZ that go this long.
Yeah, a couple of feedbacks. Okay, I'm curious, who picked that map? That was Classic's map pick, and I guess it is a good map for the Protoss if you do go Sky Toss, because there's not that many bases for the Zerg to Zerg out on.
That's true. It's fairly limited for the Zerg. They can't just go out and get 8 hatches and call it a day.
Uh-huh.
Fair point.
Now we go into the 4th map. Berlingrad.
Berlingrad.
And this man in the bottom right, it's Alpha X's Classic.
And in the top left, you know him, you love him, he's in trouble. It's Rogue. Yeah, this is a best of 5. And a best of 7 going down 2-1 is not the end of the world. It's still not the end of the world to be down 2-1 in a best of 5, but it hurts. That means he needs to win 2 games in a row here against a rampaging Classic.
Rampaging, I like it. Probe Scout by Classic once more.
Probe stealing some minerals, maybe getting a few zaps off on these drones. You know, typical first probe stuff. Actually, you know, pulling a drone off there. Another hit, another hit. All right, into that hull damage. Into the body of the probe. Got to be a little bit more careful now. Something Neeb loves to do. Like, Neeb does this every PvZ.
Yeah, I'm a big Neeb fan. I'm worried for him, though. Neeb did not play in the last chance qualifier that just was going on. He declined his invite. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, Neeb's always had what feels like a bit of an interest problem, right?
Yes, very much so, I think.
There are just in every competitive aspect of life, there are those people. There's a player in the NBA right now who's incredibly gifted, but it's very much a question of, does he like playing basketball? Is this what he wants to do? So, yeah, kind of the same thing here. Does Neeb want to be a super high level Starcraft 2 player? Does he want to do what it takes to be there or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just a big Neeb fan. So I do hope, and with his latest WCS results, which, I mean, okay, hold on, let me pull this up. Because I think,
science.
just making sure he didn't win the whole thing before I talk about his latest results. No, he didn't. He had a very poor group stage showing for Neeb.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Neeb, what's going on, my guy? I don't know. It's classic here anyway, so not Neeb.
Overlord scouts the Void Ray with his body.
It's such a hard life being a Void Ray or being an Overlord.
That first Overlord survival rate is about 1%, man. Not really intended to live for too long.
Okay, we got a Twilight right behind this from Classic. 3 gates going up. He's warping in a couple of Adepts. What does this mean? Oh, Oracle goes down for Classic. But there it is, Resonating Glaives.
Okay. Roach Warren coming in for Rogue is going to help immensely with that. Resonating Glaives hate roaches with all of their hearts, so this should be just fine for Rogue. Should be able to handle it, no problem. Now, these Adepts trying to stay alive should be a big tell for Rogue. Usually these Adepts are somewhat okay with going in for the Scout and dying. But based on the build here, letting them die reduces your total number of Adepts by 2. So you don't want to do that. So keeping these alive, Rogue recognizing that they are a little bit more interested in staying alive should be enough to tell them what's going on.
Who was it that made like 40 Adepts last Africa World? Was it Classic or Hero?
I don't remember. I think it might have been Hero.
One of them did, and it was the most ridiculous thing.
Oh, I do remember that game. And he kept making them, too. It wasn't like...
Well that's
here they
exactly it. Oh,
yeah.
A little bit of lag here.
Transfuses, keeping the queens alive. There are roaches in production that are popping out now, which is just gosh darn in the nick of time here. The roach is getting some hits off drones, trying to split, trying to run, trying to make it easy for the Adepts to target them down. They're shading into that main base, which means they are prepared to die up there. And now that they're in the main base, they are taking massive hits from roaches. Lings are beating on them too. 10 drones have died, 11 drones have died. Lings are taking away targets. They want to hit the drones. Now we're back down to the natural base. Absolutely insane display here. 15, 16. Did we lose LaughNgamez?
No, just having a bit of lag, so I was quickly closing anything.
Ah, fair enough.
Yes, the stream is lagging quite a bit, and I do apologize for that, as long as it's not affecting the players, which is the main concern.
Yeah, I don't see any problems on my end, so I think the players should be okay.
Uh-huh. The problem is you never know if it's a random rogue Windows update that started.
True.
Yeah, so Classic gets a bit of damage done, a decent amount to Rogue, who's just going to be going for the Classic Rogue Queen all in. Lots of Lings behind this. Void Rays are on the way for Classic. He's got a boatload of shield batteries and the Adepts to tank, so the Lings' effectiveness will be in question against 9 Adepts with basically a shield battery each.
Yeah, they have their own personal shield battery for this engagement. Man, Rogue does not want to play late game PvZ. This is the 3rd time he's Queen Walked today, maybe the whole series. Not one, that one he Ling floated, he didn't, but alright. So Queen trying to get shots off on the Void Rays. They're being healed by shield batteries. Queens are being healed by transfuses. Zergling's trying to get in here. But not just A moving in to die. Yeah, Corrosive Bile is trying to get tossed down and catch something, anything.
This
which
looks
in this
really
chaos,
good for Classic, though, as Rogue not getting a lot of ground. The Adepts doing a surprising amount of work. The Ravagers are actually the target of focus here, not the Queens. Void Rays are getting picked off, however, as this goes on. Gonna have to go towards the 3rd base to get healed on up, and they will do just that, but what started out pretty good for Classic is suddenly looking a little more dicey.
Yeah, that 5th base is a potential thing here. Zealots running directly into their deaths here. They take down a Ravager. They maybe take down a Queen here as well. Reinforcements are Zerglings and Roaches. It's Zealots and Void Rays for Classic. Lings, do they want to run into the natural base and go after some of these probes? I imagine that they do. Queen, anti-air, still super insanely good here. And this is the deterrent for Protoss, who are trying to open up Sky Tosses. These Queens will come across and ruin your day if you're not careful with it. That said, Zealot's getting some nice chomps there. The Lings are assisting with that. 4 probes go down in the natural base, and Rogue does end up taking it. Absolutely impressive show from him. It finally works. I think this is the first time that's worked out.
Okay, everyone, we are back. I apologize about that.
It wasn't his fault. The interwebs, they are problematic sometimes.
The series of tubes was not happy.
No. Very displeased.
But we're getting the players on into the game, into the lobby, and then we'll make sure they're both ready, and we'll have another go at it. As long as you're out of game, it's definitely worth taking the minute to make sure things are running well.
Truth be told.
Yes, so back on into it we go. Thanks so much to everyone for hanging around. Do apologize about that, but we're now going to see this best of 5 through.
Hoorah! Alright, so we're on Glittering Ashes in the top right for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is Classic. He is 2 games tied up with Rogue.
And in the bottom left, he is Rogue. Alright, Falcon, putting you in the hot seat. Who takes it?
Oh, man. I gotta say, it feels like Classic. It feels like Classic's series to win. He's just been more solid in his victories. Rogue has won with a couple kind of cheesy things, which is, I mean, it's not an invalid way to win, but just the player who gets wins in that way, I just can't believe in them when it comes down to a game 5. And it's weird for me to say for Rogue because he's very capable of winning normally, but what's he doing here is not playing very standardly at all.
No, he's not, but I'm going to be devil's advocate and say Rogue. Not that that's a bold prediction, but yeah. Rogue moving on in. Looks like he's going to be going for a proxy hatchery or something in this game. What is this drone up to?
Hatch blocking?
Remember this, says Classic, or says Rogue to Classic.
Oh no. I don't have a good feeling in my Zergy heart about this. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Doesn't feel like this is something that Classic's gonna really struggle with at all. And I don't think it gives Rogue any kind of advantage he can really take advantage of.
Classic
redundant.
Gonna expand towards his 3rd base as opposed to waiting for that hatchery to be killed off. After all, he did send out a probe scout, so he sees that this isn't a big commitment or anything from Rogue, and that he doesn't have to worry about it too much. If I'm not mistaken, around now is when the Protoss might pull another probe or something?
I mean, traditionally, you like seeing about 4 or 5 probes on it with a Zealot, and that effectively kills it before it pops. But what you can also just do is kill it before the Queen comes out, and that generally does everything you need to do.
Yeah, I guess that's classic, having a good scout off, saying, okay, yeah, you are just gonna let this finish just to be a pain, but you're not gonna be producing too much out of it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna
pop out.
Sure, and they'll get a scout off, but there's really not much to see here. I don't know. I don't like it.
There's the second set getting fired up. Rogue was hoping to buy enough time to get out this queen, but that's not gonna happen.
No, Classic has this down to a science. The Broodlings are a bit of an issue, but that's why the Adept is finishing this off. Everybody pulls back to a situation where Broodlings can't really get a lot done. They expire anyway. Zergling goes in for the scout, sees the double gas, sees the lack of tech and anything in the main base. Maybe going to try to kill a probe here, but really shouldn't be able to, and does not before he gets zapped to death.
The egg potentially going to die before it finishes up that round of Lings, which would be nice if Classic can prevent that, but it's like he won't, due to the bajillion armor that Zerg cocoons have.
Yeah, got to keep those alive. Not really fair if they were easily sniped down by enemies.
No?
Not super balanced, I don't think.
Okay, so we do actually see Rogue just going for a follow-up all-in. He knows Classic expanded to his third, and he's going to try and punish him for it. Probes being pulled to try and save that shield battery, getting damage done on the Lings while that occurs. Classic immediately throws up another one, runs the probes away, but gets him back to work. Actually throws up a second, which I think is great. Not an overreaction at all, and Oracle is about to pop out as well for Classic, which will help immensely dealing with all these Zerglings. Adept, you want to start shooting those?
Get on your horse, Adept.
Classic cancels one of the shield batteries, however, he does have the other one here. Oracle activates its pulsar beam, shooing Rogue away. And I think with this good defense, Classic is just going to force Rogue to drone.
And that's what he's doing. I mean, the Lings, they're trying to find damage. They're trying to find individual probes to kill. He's going to try to kill that one. And does get it before it gets into the safety of that wall, which is a little annoying for Classic. But he knows that Rogue has spent a lot of money on these Zerglings, and it's just not going to pay off for Rogue. This hurts him economically for sure. He is droning up a bunch back home. Obviously, he's got his spores coming up because he knows... oh, there we go. Yep, there's an Oracle there. And the spore is late again, and 3 more drones go down.
Yeah, that's very painful.
Having a hard time getting those spores up.
Classic throws up a second Stargate while he's getting up his third Nexus. He's just doing that same Void Ray macro thing he's done most of these games.
Yeah, Classic likes his Void Rays, for sure. Given half the opportunity, he will make a bunch of them. And I can't say that he's wrong to do so.
No, neither can I.
Roach Warren, about 50% complete there for Rogue. And this is what Rogue tries to avoid, tries to avoid going to a late game here against a Sky Toss and against somebody as good as Classic who can just get that composition up that is really hard for Zerg to crack.
Oracle gets a drone, but then does die. So, pays the price there. And, yeah, this is terrible for Rogue. Like, he is so far behind going up against a Protoss who's happily macroing. Oh, and Classic changing it up. Not going too hard in the Void Rays. Gonna get up a Robo Bay and then throw up a few gateways.
Yeah, Disruptors can be really good here. Colossus can be pretty good too. He did make some Disruptors there in game too, I think it was. I don't know if they really got much use, but he had a couple. And then I think I lost track of them, but he didn't make any more than that, so maybe they didn't do very well.
Yeah, he did make a couple, but he was playing against Ling Queens, so their effectiveness was debatable.
Well, except Queens are pretty terrible at splitting off creep.
That's true. But unless you get 2 Novas on them, they just transfuse each other and live.
Yeah.
Okay, charge on the way for Classic, so yeah, not a huge commitment to the Sky Toss.
Not now, anyway. Definitely a possibility later on. All right. 4th base coming in, 3 Adepts defending pretty well naked. There's your Spire, man. Rogue wants to make this Mutalisk thing work in Game 5.
Infestation Pit as well, so
Void
keeping
Rays
his
swinging
options.
down that left side. And that's a dead hatch. No saving it. And no Void Rays die. That is just exactly what the speed it does for the Void Rays. They get in fast, they get out fast. That would not be possible with slower Void Rays. You'd lose at least a couple Void Rays in the process.
Oh my god, are they going to get the lair? No. Okay,
No.
Queen's repositioned quickly.
Queens are a little bit too early. Prismatic Alignment's not ready to fire either, I don't think.
These poor Overlords could be in trouble, though.
Pop. This is a very simple pop. Trying to kill a couple drones here without getting surrounded by... Oh boy, this is
The
a
big
recall
Queen
out.
Circle punishing these Void Rays, but only one's died so far.
It's all getting bruised up, and that sucks for future engagements. Lings try to take down that 4th base, but Zealots handle that fairly well. And the Void Rays, they can't get out. They're going to have to recall out if they're going to do it. That is a lot of Queens.
Oh my god, Classic is like, I've got to get out of here.
I have delved too deeply.
Oh, what is Classic doing, though? I mean, he fires up 2 Phoenix, so I guess he must have seen the Spire. No,
Yeah.
he didn't. He's just assuming, and he's actually going up against Corruptors. And
Interesting.
Phoenix are not what you want against Corruptors.
No.
Oh.
No, not generally. If you outnumber the Corruptors fairly well with your Phoenix and you have that range upgrade especially, you're going to have a good time. That is a beautiful changeling position. Holy smokes.
Yeah,
Well
Rogue
done, Overseer.
is making exactly the units he needs to. How much static defense does Classic have at this 4th base? He's throwing up 2 cannons, 2 batteries. We either need to see a lot more, or we're going to have to see something that's better against Corruptors, because the carriers he just fired up are not going to do it. Classic is cutting a corner right here big time. And Rogue is reading him perfectly with a Corruptor count of 22 already.
That's enough to one-shot a carrier pretty easy.
Yeah, that is an amazing count for Rogue. And that means Rogue can just spam roaches and lings behind this. And that's going to make things almost impossible here for Classic. Looks like those Corruptors were just sighted. 3 Stalkers start warping on in. But, I mean, there's so many Corruptors. They aren't going to give a darn about 3 Stalkers.
Nah, it's what, 118 to 88 total supply now. Rogue has that nice lead that he needs if he's going to win this battle.
Yeah, and oh my god, the Queens, too.
All right, Ravager's up.
Okay, Archons are being made. There is a couple Disruptors out. If they can get some big shots off in the Queens, that could be a playmaker. And here we go. 1 Nova goes out.
Disruptor catches... Oh, 2 Ravagers go down. Thanks to that. Another hit. Oh, okay, 2 more Ravagers die to the Disruptor balls.
Battery overcharge already popped, preventing Rogue from going for a big engagement. That's going to buy Classic some time. He's got Archons on the ground. He's got Zealots on the ground. If he can deal with the ground army, his Archons can clean this up. Phoenix even lifting the queens to remove them from the equation. Disruptor shots kill so many queens, and it looks like Classic may win the ground fight, and that's all he needs as he tries to save his carriers while the Archons just work away on the Corruptors.
Absolutely insane disruptor hits there.
GG, those disruptors. We are going to rewind and take a look at those disruptors. Oh my god.
Where are they? Where are you, beautiful disruptors? So and at 11:53. Ooh.
Okay, Classic takes it. You were right, Falcon.
Yeah, I mean, it turns out if you have a lot of corruptors, it's pretty scary.